Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hey team, it's Quoc here. Just double checking if you guys can also hear me and see my screen. On the chat box, if you're on a computer, it should be on the right hand side. Just chat in there, or if someone can message me on WhatsApp or Facebook, just let me know if you can hear me loud and clear and also see the screen before I start speaking and to no one. So just let me know, guys. Thanks. Awesome. Thanks, Kyle. Perfect. We'll get started in 1 minute, guys. Just waiting for a couple more people to log on, and then we'll kick off the webinar. All right, guys, it's 9:01. Let's get started. Before I get into everything, I just want to welcome you guys to tonight's leadership webinar. My name is Quoc, and I'll be taking you guys through some information that I've learned from the past 6 years of doing this business, and I want to show you some information that can help you progress forward in your business, and that's why you're on this call tonight at 9 p.m. on a Sunday night. So I want to give a shout out and a hi to Bruce, Francesco, Garib, Jasham, Kyle, Lee, Marty. Good to see you, brother. Mila. So I want to try to keep this webinar engaging. So if you guys got any questions or anything like that, just feel free to on the chat box type yes if you agree with stuff, or if you have any questions, just type it in there. And if I can, I'll look at the chat at the same time I'm doing the webinar. But if I can't get to your question, I'll scroll through the chat and answer the question. But I want to try to keep it engaging as possible for you guys, so you can get some value out of it and also help you, progress forward in your business. So I want to start off with just sharing a little bit of my journey so far. Some of you I've met in person, and some of you I haven't yet. So I want to share with you sort of my why, so you guys can understand a little bit about my journey and hopefully learn from a lot of mistakes I've done in the past 6 years, and to really fast track your business. So let's get straight into it. So for me, I grew up in a family that basically immigrated from Vietnam to Australia, and at that point in time, they were fighting a war. Well, my dad was actually in the army, and he was on the south side, which was fighting with the Americans and the Australians against the communist regime. At this time, it was a pretty tough time for my family over there. They didn't have much at all growing up, and so that's the background that I sort of came from. So they were forced to flee the country, and they had a choice to go to America or Australia, and they chose Australia to start a life. They got shipped to back in the days, all the refugees got shipped to Adelaide. That was like a holding bay for most of the refugees. So my parents had a tough life growing up, and also to be in the war and to flee the country, not knowing what was happening to your family, it would have been a very tough time for them to deal with. So they grew up in a culture where it was all about hard work. It was all about physical labor, earn your money that way, and that's what they got taught. So they brought those principles of hard work over into Australia. But you got to understand, they just came over here. They didn't know what's happening with their family, if they survived the regime. They didn't have any money. They couldn't speak any English as well. So they just had to do what they could do. And the only thing that was on offer was just physical laboring work. And so they basically, throughout the start of when they came to Australia, they just was doing just any sort of laboring work. When they had me and my sister, we grew up in an environment where we just watched our parents work pretty hard their whole lives. Not earning that much money, and at the time when I was young, I didn't realize how much sacrifice they did for us as children, and I took that for granted as a young kid because I would always complain about why are you dragging me to the farm at 5 a.m. in the morning to help you out. I didn't really understand the why they did that. You know what I mean? And I took it for granted their sacrifice. So looking back now as an adult, I really have a lot of appreciation for my parents because they work so hard and they've given me a lot of things in my life that I'm very appreciative now. Looking back on it, they taught me the principles of obviously work hard, but don't do physical work. It's not smart to do that. You want to go to school, study, get good grades, and all that stuff. So I took that path. I wasn't the smartest kid in the school. It took a lot of hard work to get to university alone. I had to do 2 years in TAFE to get to university, and then do another 3.5 years there, where I pretty much struggled. The only thing that got me through was the hard work aspect, where I never missed a lecture or a tutorial. I was always in the library. Basically had no life. I was just studying because I knew that if I failed a subject or if I wasted time or anything like that, it would cost my parents money because they were buying the textbooks for me and all that stuff. So as I grew up, I had a lot more respect for all the sacrifices they gave me and financially supported me through university. At that time, I didn't have a car and I had to get to university. So my mum gave me her car, which is that Honda you see in the left side there. This car was stock standard, so I sort of did it up a little bit. But she gave me her car to go to university to study, and I didn't ask her. She gave me the car. I was very grateful that she did that. When I finished uni, I had a $20,000 HECS debt, and I was searching for jobs in my degree, and the best thing I could find, after a marketing degree at that point in time, was a position at a tennis center receptionist, basically booking times for people to use the tennis center. That's the best thing I could get at that time with my degree. So it wasn't cracked up to what it was made to be, because I started to realize, 10,000 other students all across Australia graduated at the same time with the same degree that I had. There's not going to be jobs for everyone. So I was left in a position where I now have $20,000. My parents sacrificed financially everything they had for me to study, and the best job I could get was getting paid $12 an hour at a tennis center. So I was kind of in a position where I was very frustrated, and I felt guilty because, I felt like I wasted my parents' money. So at that time, I studied a career in fitness. While I was at that tennis center, I studied fitness because that's what I was passionate about, and then I pursued a career in health and fitness because that was my passion. That was what I connected with the most, helping people in fitness. So I began my career then, which was probably about 6-7 years ago. So I started to do that. And when I was doing that, so I didn't use my degree at all. Still got money to pay off in the uni debt. So I started the career in health and fitness. And on this journey, I met a couple of people from the Your Health business. And basically this person was a PT I was working with. And he talked about these supplements that he was looking at and that could help with digestive health. And that really intrigued me because all I knew was protein can help with muscle growth. I didn't know anything about digestive health. And that's what really caught my eye with what he was doing. So he invited me to a presentation. I'm sure all you guys, obviously you guys have been invited to a presentation. So my first presentation was actually a launch, a big one. There's like 50 people there. The three people there was Marco, there was Dave, and there was Dan Hamilton, which is, if you guys don't know Dan, he's one of the pioneers over in America that actually was the guy who signed up Dave Nelson. So he's Dave Nelson's mentor. So those three were in the room with another 50 people. I brought a couple of people there to that presentation. I was excited. When I heard the presentation, I was very excited about the opportunity when it came to the products. This product can help a lot of people. And then when they told me about the business side, I was like, wow, you can help people but earn money as well, and these guys are going to help me do that. I was all in, but I still had that type kind of fear of like, oh, it's going to cost me like 500, 600 bucks to sign up, and I was hesitant. And at the end, I was like one of the last people there. But at the end of the presentation, when everything was getting wrapped up, I saw one of my guests, and she was filling out paperwork. And when I saw that, I was like, shit, I'm going to miss out. So I quickly said, mate, sign me up. I'm ready to go. And I basically bought a set on that day and started my Your Health journey. Now, a lot of you guys can relate to that because you're probably remembering your first presentation of how you saw the business. And why I'm sort of spending a little bit of time on this, because this is where your passion comes from. When you first saw the business for the first time, something in you moved you forward into the business because you saw it helping you get out of where you are right now. Okay, so that's what I saw. Because I was in fitness, and my business was stable, but it wasn't going anywhere long term. I was paying $300 rent a week, and I just saw the vehicle as a way to really help me generate more income, so it can reduce financial pressure. But the background that I told you about my parents, I want to give back to them financially. That's my biggest goal because they've made so many sacrifices for me. So that's what I saw when someone showed me when I came to my first presentation. So I started the business. On the left-hand side, you can see there is the first basic training that we ever had. There's quite a number of people there, actually. I'm the guy sitting on the floor there, pretending he knows what he's doing, but I had no clue what's going on. At this time, I was very shy, didn't know how to interact with people or anything like that. It was kind of a little bit awkward. Didn't know too much about how to build this business, but I wanted to learn. I wanted to dedicate myself and learn how to do that. Okay, we started our presentations where there was not many people at these presentations, so everyone started in this position. So I started that journey, and then from there, we started to build a little bit of momentum. The passion and drive kicked in. A lot of people bought into the vision of where we were going as a team. And this annual trip that you can see on the left-hand side here, this is what changed a lot of things in my business. Now, on the chat, who actually went to Southern California for that annual event? Anyone on the chat that went there? Yes, Garib, he went there. Yes, awesome. So this event really changed me because it was the biggest team I brought to a major event. Milos was there, Ryan was there, yep. And this is Dan Hamilton, the guy in the right-hand side picture there. He's Dave Nelson's mentor. And I really grew an attachment to Dan because he really helped me develop who I was as a person. So I brought a team of about 40 people there. This was like a beach party that Dan organized for everyone. It was a really great event to build really good culture. And that was a moment in my life where I was like, man, this is an awesome business that we have. To get to travel with my friends, to get to learn, develop, and to be a part of something bigger than us and on a bigger mission was really exciting. So the next step there was, once I came back, it just gave me so much belief in myself for some reason. I just hung around with people who had that energy and vibe, and that was contagious. So we brought that energy back. The whole team, 40 of us, brought that energy back. And then we started to really ramp it up. And then we brought a team to this. You see the middle picture here. This is one of the first, I think it was the first annual, first or second annual event in Australia where Dennis came. There was about probably 600 people there at that event. And that was the first time I spoke in front of a massive audience. Now, just to go back a bit, I was pretty shy, a little bit awkward with people and all that stuff. Mark would tell you how, um, my people skills were back in the day. So to get on stage, speak to 600 people is quite an achievement in my eyes because I couldn't speak in front of two people. I remember a time where one of the leaders asked me to do my testimonial. And I'm a person that it's hard for me to say no. So I just said yes. And then as soon as I said yes, in my mind, I was like, what the hell am I doing? I don't even know what I'm saying. I don't even know what I'm doing. I started freaking out. And 2 minutes before the presentation, he was walking up the aisle, and I pulled him. I said, man, look, man, I don't think I can do my testimonial. So I pulled out. That's how bad I was with speaking in front of people. So to be able to do that in a space of like under a year, to speak in front of 600 people was a massive achievement for me. And the reason how I did that was I got around people who were at a higher level than me and were willing to teach me. So from that event, we went to start to build it in Brisbane. And that first photo on the right-hand side shows us that I don't know how to set up an event because there's too many chairs for people. That's a very bad look if you guys have done that before. But we built that from 10 people to 110 people, as you can see on the bottom image there. Because we were passionate about what we're doing. We believed in the vehicle that we had. We believed in the company, and everyone was aligned together. Okay. Then success started to happen. I got my car. Now, I showed you this car because remember the first car I showed you that my mum gave me? That was like a hand-me-down. This car right here was a $140,000 car, brand new, off the showroom of BMW in the Fortune Valley, which is in the city. Okay, so I show you this car because it was a massive achievement for me as I grew as a person to be able to create financial success to even afford something like that. Because I came from a very humble background, and to be able to develop and grow myself, I'm very grateful that Your Health gave me the vehicle to do that. Because without it, I would probably still be driving my Honda, right? We built a lot of momentum back then. This is a picture in my parents' house down at the bottom in the gym there. Now, again, it started out with 10 people, but it built to 100 people. People were watching my presentations outside in the dark through a window. Okay? Cars were lined up all through the suburbs. It came to a position where the neighbors got so pissed off that they called the council. The council came over at 9 p.m. at night, came into my house, and told me that every single car will get a fine if you don't move it again. And if you do an event like this again, you're going to get massive fines, basically. So basically, they shut us down in my own home. Okay, so that's just to show you guys what we've been through, all the highs and lows and all that stuff. Now, the next picture, yes, that is a Ferrari. That is my parents' house. And if you guys don't know where I live in a suburb called Slacks Creek, which is right next to Woodridge. And I'm sure you guys know some very dodgy neighborhoods where you guys are. I don't know if Melbourne, you can give me an example of a dodgy neighborhood. But think about the most dodgiest neighborhood you can think of. I live near there. Now, that's Dave's Ferrari. Now, he's rocking up with a Ferrari at my house, right, in this area where it's very low socioeconomic people live. People were thinking I'm doing something illegal big time, right? But I want to share that funny experience because it's super exciting to be a part of something that that everyone can succeed together with your mates. And that's the most empowering thing for me. And the last image I want to show you is my vision board. Now, if you guys haven't sort of met me or haven't had any sort of dialogue with me, I'm really big on visualizing things. It's somewhere in my birth chart that I'm a very visual person. I need to see the image for me to move forward and attract that in my life. So this is a vision board I made in 2012. Okay, when I started the business, I listened. One of my clients, actually, with a PT client, asked me if I listened to The Secret. And I never knew what that was. She sent me a link and I watched it, and I really was empowered by that audio. And that was just the start of my journey in personal development. And from then, I took action straight away. I made a vision board. And in that vision board, I put up the things that I wanted to attract in my life. And if you guys can't see, in the middle there, on the top right hand, on the top right hand corner, in the middle, is that BMW X6. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, in 2012, there was no luxury car bonus. So there's no BMW, Audi, Mercedes car program. Okay? I put the BMW up there because it's, I don't know, it looked like a cool car that I wanted to have. When I put that up there, probably 4 to 5 months later, they released a car program. You can, if you hit Emerald, you can become a car program, Audi, BMW X6. Okay, now things are starting to freak me out a little bit, right? And so I was walking in the valley, in the city, in our area with my partner, and we walked past this dealership. And I was like, man, that's the car I want. That's the one, right? And I said this to my partner, that's the vehicle that I want. And not thinking of anything to it, through connections, I got referred to a person who was in the business. His sister worked in BMW. Now, she worked in BMW at the Gold Coast, right? But this is what gets pretty trippy. At that time, when she's working, she was helping me get a deal for a car or whatever. She moved to the Valley BMW. Then she referred me to a person that worked into the news section, and that person got me that car that you see on my vision board. Okay, so that's how powerful this is once you understand what you want in your life. And the car is just one example. Guys, I can tell you a lot of things that has happened on this vision board that it'll just take too long. We'll just go over. But that's just giving you an example of how powerful the law of attraction is, visualization, and taking action towards that goal as well. Okay, so that's sort of my journey. The next sort of part is what the results of building this business. And this is what I fell in love with, guys. When I first saw the business, it was about the people. It was about the team. It was about, we're going to help you. It was about, we can help you get to where you want to be. And I'm very grateful for the position I was in because I got to travel the world. I got to go to California. I got to go to all over Australia. I got to meet people from all around the world, to Hawaii. The first image is Hawaii there with all the top earners from Blue Diamonds, White Diamonds. The middle picture is Las Vegas when we had a team event. The right-hand side is the Sydney launch. The middle is there, Noosa. The left-hand side middle there is New Zealand. Over here, on the far right-hand side in the middle, that is the co-founder of the company. That is Marco. That is Drew Lawrence, one of the advisors when it comes to astrology, one of the top leading advisors in the world, guys, right? And we've built multiple teams around Australia and also international as well. So I'm very grateful for the position I've been in. It's given me a lot in my life, and now I just want to pay it forward to you guys. So if you guys who are brand new or been in the business, I want you guys to reflect. If you're brand new, this is what you got to look forward to. This should get you pumped up, ready to smash your goals and move forward in the business. If you're been in the business for 1, 2, or 4 years or whatever, I want you guys to remember this because you've done it before. You've been a part of this before. You can still do it again, right? If your business is not going to where it is that you want to go, right? I just want you to reflect back on these moments because these moments is to show you that you have become a person that can achieve this in your life, okay? And then the last image is that big annual event where I proposed to my partner, Bridget, in front of 1,000 people. Remember, guys, I was that shy kid, didn't know how to speak to 2 people who couldn't do a testimonial, and I proposed on stage in front of everyone. No fear, no nerves, no nothing really. I was pretty neutral. I knew she was going to say yes though. But the whole point there is it wasn't just me. I got involved with a group of people who gave me that support and belief in myself, and that's how I created the success I have today because of other people in the business. So I want you guys to really be grateful for the opportunity you have, really be grateful for the team that you have, because they're here to support you and they got your back 100% of the way, and you guys can do this together. Okay, so let's go into the webinar. So that's my story, just to get you guys understanding of what I've come from and where I've come from, so guys can sort of relate to that. And today's overview, I want to discuss the fundamentals of our business, the why and the fast start training. Those are the two topics that I'm going to sort of work towards. And then I'm going to share some sort of mindset and sort of leadership topics that I want you guys to implement into your business. So let's get straight into it. So the first one is the fundamentals of network marketing. Now, understanding the fundamentals, these never, ever, ever, ever change. Why? Your list, inviting, present, follow up, and system. Why? List, invite, present, follow up, and system. Okay, those are the 6 steps of network marketing in our business. They will never, ever change. I just want to make sure that you guys know that. So Bruce Lee has a great quote. I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who practiced one kick 10,000 times. Why is that important? Because the basics, we always have to be practicing and taking actions towards this. When it comes to doing your why, sharing your why, revisiting your why, when it comes to making lists, to invite, present, follow-up system, these basic steps need to be done over and over and over again. Just like, for example, if you're an elite athlete, let's say in basketball, and you mastered the 3-point shot, right? You're not going to, just because you master it, you're not going to stop, right? You're going to keep practicing because you need to be always in flow with that so you can hit that 3-pointer every time. Same thing for our business. These 6 steps, you need to be practicing every single week in your business. And when you move away from this, you will lose belief, you lose confidence. So I'm going to revisit a couple. The first one is the why, which is super important. Okay, before I sort of discuss the why, I just want to give you a flow chart. Now, the flow chart is like a mind map, just so you guys can sort of see the flow of everything. So it starts with an invite. You can use the Go Green Live Bear link. If you don't have that link, that's all good. You invite them to a launch or a class or whatever. Okay. From that, let's say they come to a class or a launch or a team event, or they watch the press play video, whatever. You can get them started on that night. Now, when they get started on the night, or if they didn't, you book them into a strategy meeting. Now, in that strategy meeting, you go through their fast start training, which is, their why, their list, and help them invite to their next launch. Okay, so these are the finer details, just to give you guys a mind map of our business and structure. Because sometimes when you're in the business, you kind of get confused with sort of someone's messaged me here, I've done a 3 call, and you sort of lose where you're at with that person. So just want to revisit that. You invite them, they see your presentation, they either get started. If they didn't, then get them into a strategy meeting. From there, they do their own launch, they come to a basic training, they have an org meeting, and they run their own system. Okay, so that's a bit of a mind map for you guys to just get your head around it. Okay, then the fast start training is an important part that I want you guys to have some clarity on, because if you don't know how to start a promoter, you're not going to be confident to sign a promoter up, right? Because you don't know how to get them results. So just to go over the 5 steps, first step on the fast start training is get their goals. And I'm going to talk about their why and all that stuff and break that down a little bit in my presentation. But the first step is get their goals. Why do you want to get the goals? Is because you want to know the person's driving force. It's all about them. Okay? So you want to find their goals. Next, you want to help them make a list of like 20 people. On that list, you're going to help them invite them to a presentation or send them the link of the presentation. Okay? Obviously, you're going to write the dates of their launch and the strategy meeting, the basic training. You write that in, and then you invite them to either watch the link of the presentation. So you can send them a link and they can watch the presentation, and then you can just follow up with a 3 call. Or you can invite them to a one-on-one or a launch or a social event or whatever to expose them to what you're doing, depending on how you're inviting them. So for example, if you're inviting a customer, you wouldn't invite them to a business launch, for example, right? Unless you want to get them into the business. So it depends on how you invite the person. Once you help them understand how to invite, then you got to prepare them for the SNIOP. And that is basically susceptible to negative influence of other people, because they're going to get some negativity from their friends, family, as we all have experienced before. If you don't prepare them for that, they're going to be like on Depress Me Street and quit the business in the next day. So make sure that you prepare your new person for rejection and also the naysayers or the negative people. All you got to remind them of is, let's say someone's negative towards them, ask yourself, do you want to have the results that that person has in their life? And if they're broke, or if they hate their jobs or whatever, if they're not having the life that you want, you got to brush that negativity off. Their opinion as a negative person towards what you're doing doesn't matter. Okay? So I just want to give you guys clarity on that. And can you guys put a 1 in the chat box so I know that you guys are actually paying attention and actually getting this information, just to see if you guys are awake or not. Awesome. German, Hui, they're awake. Anyone else? Yes, Nora, Nana, German. Awesome, guys. Remember, if you guys got any questions, just let me know in the chat. I can help answer any question you guys have. But that's the basics of the Fast Start training. Moving along. We jump into the why. Now, a lot of people have been trained on the why, and they know the principles of the Golden Circle. Now, the Golden Circle was created by Simon Sinek, Start With Why. And if you haven't watched that TED Talk, please watch that TED Talk, because it is a really great video on the concept of the why and why it's so important. And if you have seen it, revisit it, because it's a really great one to get you attached to your why and your purpose and drive again. Okay? So it talks about the Golden Circle. Now, I'm talking about the middle circle sign there. So we're going to go from the inside out. So it talks about most businesses know what they do, right? They know how they do it, but they don't know why they do it. For example, let's use McDonald's, for example. Okay, let's say you're a McDonald's employee. Okay, you know what you do. You make burgers. You know how you do it. You put the bun together, you wrap it up, and you serve it to someone. But do you know why you do it? Why do you make burgers? Right? I bet you the employees there don't understand why they are making the burger. Okay, the purpose of the company, not just earn money financially, right? But what is the mission of our business? What is the mission of that McDonald's? So I had a look on the mission statement and all that stuff, and basically it talks about providing a customer experience for that person, and also they want to give back to the community. So McDonald's wants to create an experience for that person. That's their why. So providing, cheap, good food that people can buy and all that stuff. So that's their mission and goals. They want that customer experience so people keep coming back. But most employees probably don't know that. They're just in there to get the paycheck, right? And when you're in there just to get the paycheck and you don't know why that you're in business, you're just clocking in the hours, watching the time tick past until you can leave, basically. And that's not a good culture to build in your business. Now, how does this relate to us as a business? Well, taking back to the 6 steps, you notice that why was the first thing. That's the first thing we'll discuss, because if you're not clear on on your purpose and why you're doing this business, there's no point of doing it. Because if you jump in the business and let's say we don't teach you about the why, we don't ask you about your goals, and you just want to make the money, and you go and talk to people about what it is and how you do it. Hey, you sell some supplements and you do it like this, you invite some people, but they don't know why you're doing it, or you haven't shared that, or you don't even know your own why, you're not going to last. Probably a week, if that. But if you know your why, if you can link up the reason and the purpose of why you sign up to this business, that you can create freedom in your life, that you can earn financial stability to help your parents, to help your situation, to pay the bills, to reduce the debt, to give back to others. If you remember that as your why and you share that with people, they're going to want to follow you because they want probably the same things in their life. So you start to see the importance of the why and how it is an essential part of this business. Okay, so I just want to give you an overview of that. I'm not going to discuss everything here, but I just want to give you examples so you guys can understand the importance of it. If you're in the business you're very new to the business, 1 week, 1 month, right? Make sure you have your why down pat. Make sure you talk to your upline and get them working on your why and connecting emotionally towards it. If you've been in the business for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, go back to your why. If you feel like you've lost that and you don't know the direction of where you're at right now in the business, go back to that. Revisit that. Think about when you first saw your first presentation. What emotion did you feel? So now I'm going to give you a bit more structure when it comes to structuring the why. Now, most of you guys have heard this, so I won't go too much detail, but I just want to give you a foundation of maybe how to teach it, but also the new people they can learn as well. So the structure of the why is broken up to 3 parts: where you were, what you saw, where you are now, and also your vision. Okay? So those are the important 3 parts of the why. Now, in the first part, where you were, you talk about the universal problems. Now, what does that mean? Universal problems. Well, look at the epidemic of people's health these days. 60 to 80% of people in Australia are overweight. That's a universal problem that everyone has. Look at do you know anyone who complains about not having time? Anyone? Of course, people complain about not having time all the time. Do you guys know anyone who complains about not having enough money? Right? People talk about that all the time. Do you know anyone who complains about that 9 to 5? Their job. They wake up, not passionate about what they're doing. They wake up kind of hating what they do. And that's no way to live, guys. Because you're using up your time on this planet to do something that is not meaningful towards you and your purpose, right? So we discuss the universal problems, and then we describe the emotions through a story. That's very important, guys. When you do your why, make sure you have a story. Go back to my why. When I first started, I started talking about my background, my parents, how much they sacrificed me, that I was ungrateful when I was younger because I didn't understand what they gave to me financially. And as I got older, I wanted to give back. It was through a story, guys. You probably could have pictured some of the stuff that I was talking about. And that's very important because you need to create these images in people's minds because that creates the emotion. And when you create that emotion, they can move towards this as a business vehicle, and they'll move towards that you can help them. Okay? So after you describe that, you describe on what you saw. So you describe, as I reflect back on my why, I talked about my first presentation. I talked about the people. I talked about how these guys were going to help me. I talked about how the products can help a lot of people. I talked about how this can make extra money so it can help me pay the gym rent that I was in that situation, that particular time. And also, you're going to mention some things you were skeptical about. Like, for example, I wasn't too sure because it cost a lot of money, but I joined anyway. So by mentioning the things that you're skeptical about, it actually helps you handle objections because you've handled the objections through your why. So I talked about the money thing, and I just did it anyway because I knew that it was going to help me get to where I wanted to be, right? And then you share your vision. What excites you? What's your vision for yourself? How can you serve others? At the last part, that's where you want to spend most of your time. You want to talk about what excites you, what drives you. I see this vehicle as helping me retire my parents. I see this vehicle impacting people's lives health-wise. I see this vehicle as a way to serve other people. I see this vehicle as a way to create freedom in my life. And I can give the same opportunity to other people. And we all can work together to achieve our goals. That's what excites me, right? Are you guys getting this? It's very important that this why is you guys train the team, but also you know your why and make sure it's passionate. Okay. When you feel like quitting, think about why you started. That is that is 100% on point. When you feel like quitting, think about why you started. Think about your first presentation. Think about the reason you started, because that will get you moving forward instead of getting caught up on the emotional drama in the situation that you might be currently in. Okay? So next, so that was the fast start and the why. Now I want to move into mindset. Now the mindset is important because if your mindset is rubbish, you're not going to get the results, right? Who agrees with me? Put a 2 in the chat box if you agree with me. If the mindset is not right, you're not going to get anywhere. If you have a... Yes, DP agrees with me. Hui agrees with me. Nora agrees with me. Great. Milos, Lee. Awesome. You guys are paying attention. I'm testing you guys, but you all agree with me. Great. So if the mindset is not there, guys, nothing will work. So let's go into it. Mindset. Now, I'm just going to give you an example of this example to help explain the point I want to try to get across. Now, this image shows a baby. Research shows that the average 1-year-old has heard the word no 400 times a day. Did you guys know that? I just said no. The baby has heard the word no 400 times a day. It could be, no, don't put that in your mouth, or no, don't fall over. They've heard the word no 400 times. Now, as by the time they are 5, they've heard the word no over 200,000 times as a toddler, right? As a teenager, they've heard the word no 400,000 times. 400,000 times, guys. As an adult, by the time they're adults, we have heard the word no many, many more times than we have heard the word yes. It's very important that you guys understand that. So the word no, we've heard a lot more times than the word yes. Okay? So you would think that we'd be used to hearing the word no. That would make sense because we've heard it since we were a child, right? This word no, should be used to it. It shouldn't affect us. But in our marketing or in life, it actually does affect us in a negative way. See, the biggest fear when I first started in network marketing was the word no. And I want you guys to reflect on that when you first started. How many times did you hear the word no? Does anyone want to share? Right? I bet you it was a lot of times. And some people who aren't here today, let that affect them. That's why they're not here. And the people are on the call right now who heard the word no and they're still going, they had a different relationship to this word. I'm not going to go through that. But I want to sort of set it up by saying that everyone has this fear of this word no. Okay? So, what's your relationship with that word? Is it failure? Well, the people who quit, yeah, they've associated no with failure. They didn't come to a presentation. They didn't buy the product. They didn't go to a meeting, and they pictured that, or they associated that no as in they failed. And so these emotions from that expands in their mind from stress, failure, anger, shame, frustration, depression. Okay? So this is what happens when you have this type of relationship with the word no or failure, right? So have you got a no from someone before when it comes to the business? I'm sure the answer is yes, big time. You guys have got no's before, right? How did you react? When I first got started, when someone said no to me, I was like, straight away my belief just went from 100 to 1. I was like, oh, maybe this doesn't work. Maybe this is it's not gonna work for me. I felt my belief just go straight down from that one person who said no to me, right? So my reaction was quite disempowering. How do I feel? I felt rejected. I felt that I wouldn't be able to succeed. I felt like I failed, right? So that was sort of my mindset at the start of my business, okay? When someone said no to me, I equated to as a failure. And that's what I want to sort of help you understand, guys, that once I felt like this, my actions were I talked to less people. I didn't talk to everyone about the business because my belief started to go lower, and I started to sort of doubt myself. So I wasn't going out and inviting people and all that stuff. But I kept going to meetings. I kept hanging around the team. I kept listening to personal development because I needed to drown out the negative self-talk that I had, that I'm not good enough, that I'm rejected, that I failed. I needed to drown that inner voice and that self-talk, that disempowering self-talk, with empowering self-talk. So I turned to personal development. The person gave me an audio. I got hooked on it because it empowered me. It made me feel different. It gave me belief. I kept feeding this personal development into my car every single day. If you guys, the guys who know me, they know that when I started personal development, every single day I was listening to it in the car, at the gym. It was nonstop through a pillow speaker. Like, you know, those pillow speakers where you put your head on and shoot through the pillow. I was listening to that every single day because it made me feel empowered. It gave me belief. And then I got around a team. That gave me more belief. And eventually I started to work out these problems. I started to change my belief system around failure. And I saw it as a learning process to move forward in life. Because if we can learn from our past failures, assess it, and put an action plan towards how we can improve, then we're making progress to that finish line. So I started to understand that failure is a great opportunity to reflect on what you can do better next time. This helps create this can help you create an action plan and for a new strategy so you can move forward towards your goals. That's what I need you guys to do right now for me. Not right now, but as you progress forward in your business. Understanding that, yes, failure is a part of this business. Instead of talking crap to yourself, disempowering yourself, feed yourself with the personal development, get around the team so they can empower you, give you more belief. And then you'll start to figure out how you can reach your goals because it works. There's people earning 6 to 7 figures in this industry right now. Why can't we do it? It's already proven. It's already done. People are doing it. They're just normal human beings. They've just worked on themselves and figured out some stuff. We can do the same thing, guys, right? So now I want to give you some action steps of how to do this. Now, this action step is based on Tony Robbins' 3-step breakthrough. If you guys I hope you guys are taking notes. Take a screenshot or whatever. This is really important, this slide here. So he talks about 3 steps. The first step is strategy. A strategy is like a recipe. It's like an action plan that you can implement to achieve your goals. Most people have the wrong strategies or don't even have a strategy in place, right? So if you go and play a game of soccer against a team, you got to have a strategy in place, right? And you can't have a strategy that is just so random that, let's say your coach gives you a basketball strategy to play soccer. I mean, that's not going to work. So you got the wrong strategy, so you fail. And then you see some teams, coaches have no strategy. Hey, just get out there and play, guys. Just kick the ball around, make sure you score. That sometimes doesn't work. That doesn't work either, especially when you want to play a higher level, right? So you got to have the right strategy. The next step is your story. We all have a story, okay, of why we are where we are. The story will tell ourselves. The story we tell ourselves protects us from pain. It gives us a reason why it's not our fault. Now, most people's stories in life are disempowering. This is very crucial, guys, because subconsciously you have a story that you're telling yourself that you can't get to where you want to be, whether it's lose weight, whether it's create financial success, whether it's to do this business. There's a story that's holding you back right now. You could be aware of it or not aware of it. And that's what you got to figure out. And you don't have to do it by yourself because you got mentors and leaders in the business that can help you find out what's going on, the story that you're telling them. It's either disempowering or empowering. And if you don't have the results right now, it's obviously disempowering. We've got to find that out and work on it. Okay? And the third part of this, and the most important part, is your state. This determines how you think and feel. I'll repeat that again. This determines how you think and feel, which is crucial because how you think and feel will dictate your actions. And if your actions aren't there because of your story, then nothing will get implemented, right? So these are the 3 steps that we have to figure out how to get a better result. And it comes, and the most important thing, they're pretty much all important, but the most important is the story and the state, okay? So now I'll give you an example of how you can implement this, okay? Change your story, change your life. Change your story, change your life. Write that down. Take a screenshot of this thing right here because this is important. If you guys heard this before, let's revisit it and implement it, right? So let's say the strategy is the network marketing basics, like what I've just taught you there. So the basics of the why, list, invite, all that stuff, the basics, they never change. We get taught that on a regular basis, right? But the story that we tell ourselves is always different. At the start, it's quite empowering because it's new. It's like we haven't talked to anyone. Everyone, our whole families and everyone's going to support us. Everyone's going to say yes. So it's quite, as stories we tell ourselves, it's quite empowering. But as we talk to people, as we go through the business, we get the no's and rejections and it's not going to go our way. And we start to create this story that no one wants to join the business, that it doesn't work in my area, that no one has money. We start to build these stories subconsciously, right, that are disempowering. Now, let me ask you, if you have this story right now, do you think this helps you or hinders you? On the chat. Do you think this helps you or hinders you? It's a pretty no-brainer. Of course it doesn't help you, right? Because you're telling yourself something that's disempowering you. So therefore, that's going to, guess what? Affect your state. You're going to feel frustrated. You're going to lack in belief. You're going to lack in confidence. Now, if you lack in belief, confidence, frustration, and you still apply, the network marketing basic strategies, you're not going to apply to the fullest potential. Or they're going to be half-assed, or you're going to have no confidence when you do it. And when you talk to people, guess what? They're not going to believe what you're talking about. Because your state is coming from a person of lack of confidence or frustration or anger or lack in belief of what you're doing. No one's going to buy into it. No one's going to follow you. So, okay, so how do we fix this? Well, let's fix it let's reflect back on the basics. Let's go back to the strategy, right, of network marketing 101, wireless, invite, present, follow-up system. Let's go back on that. What can we practice on? What can we improve on? What can we develop? How can we develop our skills? How can we get more confidence when we just got to practice more? We just got to get out there and work on these skill sets with our uplines, or actually go do more meetings and have the intent of working on these skill sets, because these basic skill sets and strategies, they have worked. They will always work. People are using the same strategies and they're earning 6-7 figures, right? So let's work on how we can get better at the basics, right? And then from there, how can we make the story that we're telling ourselves more empowering? So the question you can ask there, what can you learn from the past experience? What can you learn from someone saying no to you? What can you learn when you go to a meeting and someone's not interested? What can you learn when you invite someone and they don't rock up? What can you learn? If you ask that question, that's quite empowering, because then you start to find out solutions. Oh, well, I could have dressed better. Maybe I was like in a shirt with 20 holes in it. That's a stupid example, but just give you an example of if you find out what you can learn from that experience and then implement a strategy to empower yourself. Hey, I can work on this, and this is going to help me improve my sign up ratio or a better response from my guests or prospects, right? So now you're developing a story that's empowering you more. And when you do that, that's going to start empowering your state. You're going to start moving differently with your tonality, with the way you speak. The way I'm speaking right now, guys, if I was like monotone, and I was just talking like this through the whole webinar, I'll look at the chat and like no one will be there because it's boring. You know, you gotta have tonality, you gotta have passion, you gotta have voice flexion. You gotta move your body. You guys can't see me now, but I'm moving my hands a lot. Even though I'm sitting down, I still need to move my body because I need to generate that energy and passion through moving. And getting around the team is very important, guys, because if you get around the team vibes at a high frequency, a positive frequency that you can vibe with. Because if you're feeling frustrated or lacking belief, you're gonna be by yourself. You're gonna be this posture that in this picture, you know, shoulders forward, head slumped. That's not empowering. No one's gonna. If you talk to someone like that, no one's gonna believe you, right? And you're by yourself. But if you get around the team and start to move your body in a different way, you can have that energy, and therefore you see your business start to grow, and you start to grow personally as well. Okay, so take a screenshot of that. That's a pretty important slide that will help you work on some stuff that you need to work on. If you haven't got awareness around the story you're telling yourself that holds you back, talk to your upline. That's what they're there for. They want to help you overcome it, right? Okay, so that's that. Now, put a 3 in the chat if you guys are still with me and you're getting massive value out of this. I hope so, because I'm trying to give you as much energy as possible. Awesome. Milos, Lee, Marcus. Great. Hopefully the other guys are just awesome. Okay, so now I just wanted to finish off on leadership. Now, leadership is very important, guys, when it comes in this business, because leadership can move and grow your business quite quickly. It's you developing as a leader and then developing leaders from that. So, a leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. John C. Maxwell. A leader is the one who goes the way, knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. Okay? That's a really good quote from John C. Maxwell. Okay? So, ask yourself, why would someone follow you? Why would someone choose to follow you? I want you to ask yourself that question. Okay? Ask yourself that question because it's very important in the business. Do you lead by example in health? Do you practice what you preach? Do you take the supplements? That's a no-brainer. Hopefully everyone's taking it. But do you take the supplements? Do you exercise? Are you losing weight? Are you getting your health goals? Right? You got to lead by example because we're a health business. If you're obese or you're not taking the supplements or you're not taking care of your health in any way, no one's going to follow you in that point, in that area in health. What about wealth? Okay, lead by example in wealth. What does that mean? Are you marketing how you're creating the lifestyle that you want of freedom? You don't have to splash money. You don't have to get money and just throw it everywhere. But think about wealth as in time wealth, maybe freedom wealth. Okay, think about that. And self-growth. Are you growing yourself? Are you developing yourself? Right? So why I want to talk about these topics because that's our business right there. Health, wealth, and self-growth. That's what your health is all about. It's not just a company that sells product, right? I mean, that's what we do on the outside, but it's much more than that. It's health, holistic health. It's creating a way to create that freedom. And it's also working on yourself to grow yourself and helping others. Now, this doesn't mean you have to achieve all these things straight away, right? But you need to show that you're on the journey, that you're progressing forward. That's the most important thing, guys. When I started 6 years ago, I didn't have an X6. I didn't have any money. My health was all right. My personal growth was pretty pathetic. Couldn't really talk to anyone, right? Awkward as hell, right? So I had none of these things, except for a little bit of the health side of things, right? But I started to grow and develop my knowledge about a business, about creating that lifestyle, about personal growth. I started to showcase that journey through social media, my interaction with people. When I started talking to them, they've seen the changes in how I speak. Now, you just don't just get the changes overnight. You got to work on that. You got to listen to the personality. You got to get around people who have this information so you can grow and develop. But they need to see you progressing forward, because if they see you progressing forward on these things, even though you're not a millionaire or haven't created wealth, or you're still working 9 to 5, you haven't created freedom, but at least you're on that journey. They can see you growing, and that's the most important thing. And that's how you're going to develop people who will follow you and create leadership. Okay, so I just want to touch on that because that's a very important topic. Great leaders don't set out to be leaders. They set out to make a difference. It's never about the role. It's always about the goal. You're just not a sales rep, guys. If you think you're just a sales rep, then that's all you'll be. You're not just a sales rep. I just want to make it clear to you guys, right? That's the role. That's the role. The role is a sales rep, but we're not our roles. We're all about our goal and why. See, it goes back to that why. If you're not lined up to your why, if you don't understand your why, if you're not emotionally connected to your why, it all doesn't matter. It goes back to that role of just you're selling supplements. But if you have a vision, a goal of retiring your parents, giving back to people, helping people with their health, right? Helping your family financially, creating time freedom for your kids, losing 20, 30 kilos, empowering people to do the same thing. If that's your why and that's your goal, people want to be a part of that. And the vehicle of selling the products is just a monetary way so you can earn money. But it's not about the goal. It's not about the role. It's about the goal and the why. Okay? So focus on your why and vision and add value to people's lives. Leadership equals servanthood. Leadership equals servanthood. What does that mean? You're here to serve people. And when you understand that, and when you don't think about the money, your business will start to grow. You're here to serve others. It's not about you, it's about them. And we've got to understand that in our business, okay? So, sorry if you guys want to take a screenshot of that, take a screenshot. But I'm pretty much done. Just want to go through some updates now. Everyone all good with that? Throw a 4 in the chat if you're all good. Awesome. Great, guys. So I just want to wrap up now and talk about sorry, I had one more slide. Okay, so to create leadership in health, using the products, right? That's important. To create influence and leadership in wealth, to create that lifestyle and freedom, to showcase that you're personally growing, and to serve others. I show these topics because the person you're talking to needs to see you progress, health, wealth, personal growth, helping others. Very simple. I'm just going to break it down like that. They need to see this through your Instagram story, Facebook story, your posting on social media, how you talk to people, interaction at certain social gatherings or whatever. They need to see you progress in health, wealth, personal growth, service to others. You may not have achieved all of them, but they need to see some growth and development through those. And that's how you start to build influence. That's how you start to build a team, okay? So, just want to do a special announcement to everyone on this call that we are heading to Bali this year for a retreat, an annual event. This, I haven't been there personally, but I've heard is a beautiful country. On the right-hand side, that's a hotel. We'll do some white water rafting, amazing day trip to the islands. I want to do a hike wherever this place is. That looks unreal. But it's going to be an awesome retreat. Now, I want to tell you guys something. This retreat, this is where it happens. This is where the magic happens. The more people you can bring on the street, the more people on your team you can bring here, the better connection, the better the culture, the better your business grow. As I said before, when I brought 40 people to Southern California, that's how my business blew up, is because I brought the most people at this event. So make sure you get your team to this event, guys, because it's very important, okay? So this is just a layout of like the 5 days or the 6 days that we'll be there. Day one, we'll arrive at the hotel, we check in. Day two, we'll have a free day and a cocktail party at nighttime. Day three will be the first event, and we can have buffet lunch included. Day four will be the same thing. Day five, we'll do whitewater rafting or an island trip, and day six, we'll fly home. The cost breakdown for this whole trip is about $1,000 or $1,500, depending on your flights. But that's roughly the breakdown there. It's going to be an awesome trip, guys. I can't wait to spend some time with you and be with you there. The last trip we did together, I think it was as a whole team in Australia, was Port Douglas. Oh man, that was an amazing trip. I really felt the connection and culture that we had there as a team. So that was a really good event as well. We'll be staying at the Marriott. This is amazing results. Everyone really raved about the food there. That was really good. So that's the Marriott there, pretty close to the beach. You can walk down to the beach. It's a really nice facility. Thank you, Milos, for organizing that for us. Also, we have tickets to the event. If you haven't got your tickets yet, they're $110 per ticket. That includes entry on both days, but also a buffet lunch on both days as well. Okay, so if you haven't got the tickets, please talk to your Emerald upline. They can help you get tickets to the event. And then also, surprise guest speaker will be, I'm not going to announce it now. We'll have to wait to see who that will be. Okay. Thank you, guys. That's pretty much it for me tonight. I know I've gone 6 minutes over time, but hopefully you guys got a lot of value in that. And I look forward to seeing you guys on the Bali trip. If you guys got any questions, just let me know. I'll be happy to help you, okay? Love you a lot, guys. Talk to you guys soon.